Hello students, in my today's class I will be discussing about demand function. Now we know that demand for commodity I here in this particular example is a function of price of commodity I, income of the consumer and price of related goods and taste and preference of the consumer. In my earlier class I have discussed about the relationship between price of commodity I and demand for commodity I, ceteris paribus. What is ceteris paribus? All other factors remain constant. In this particular demand function, all other factors are income of the consumer, price of related goods and taste and preferences of the consumer. They remain constant. If price of commodity I increases or decreases, what will happen to demand for commodity I? We have studied in my previous class. In my today's class, I will be discussing about income and demand relationship. As income increases, what will happen to the demand for the commodity? Ceteris paribus means price of the commodity, price of related commodities and taste and preferences of the consumer, they remain constant. If income of the consumer increases or decreases, what will happen to the demand for the commodity? So here I have taken example of apples. Let us assume a table like this. I have taken a hypothetical table where commodity I is taken as apples, demand for apples, and consumer's income Y is taken 10,000, 30,000, 50,000 and 1 lakh. As the income of the consumer increases from 10,000 to 30,000, from 30,000 to 50,000, from 50,000 to 1 lakh, what will happen to the quantity demanded of apples? In this particular table, so when income was 10,000, he was buying 20 units of apples. When income increases from 10,000 to 30,000 and the demand for apples have gone up from 20 units to 30 units, and from when the income increases from 30,000 to 50,000, then the demand for apples has gone up from 30 to 50 units, and from 50,000 the income increases to 1 lakh, the demand for apples has gone up from 50 to 70 units in this particular example. The table that shows the relationship between income and quantity demanded of the commodity is called income demand schedule. A schedule or a table which shows the relationship between income of the consumer and quantity demanded of the commodity is called income demand schedule. This schedule can be used to show the relationship with the help of a diagram. See, in this particular diagram, I have taken quantity demanded of apples on the x-axis and the income on the y-axis. So 20, 30, 50. When income was 10,000 rupees, then quantity demanded of apples was 20 units. When it become 30, 30. 50,000, 50. 1 lakh, 70 units. We have 4 points on the demand and income plane. So when we join all these points, we get income demand curve. This income demand curve is also called angel curve. So here in this particular case, what we have observed, a positive relationship between, a direct relationship between income of the consumer and quantity demanded of, in this particular case, apples. As income is increasing, quantity demanded of apples is also increasing. Such goods are called normal goods. For normal goods, as income increases, demand also goes up. So in this particular example of apples, since the demand is going up as income is increasing, so apples are found to be normal goods. But in some cases, as income increases, there is not necessarily that the demand for the commodity increases. The demand may rather fall sometimes for certain goods. In this, I have taken an example of rice. When the income level is 10,000, that household used to buy 25 kgs. When the income has gone down 30,000, increased from 10,000 to 30,000, the demand for rice has gone down from 25 to 20. When income became 1 lakh, the demand for rice has gone down to 10 kg. So as income is increasing, the demand for rice has been falling, which we could see the relationship. What relationship we could find? We can find an inverse relationship or a negative relationship between the income of the consumer and quantity demanded of the commodity. The same is depicted here in this diagram. I have taken quantity demanded of rice on the x-axis and income of the consumer on the axis, and the same is plotted. Then when join the points, we get an income demand curve or angel curve which is downward sloping. The downward sloping angel curve is for inferior goods. When as income increases, quantity demanded of the commodity decreases, that good will be termed as inferior good. So in this particular case, rice became an inferior good. What is the meaning of this? Which means he doesn't require to eat rice? No. See, because his income is increasing, he has the capacity to buy other high value products, like maybe he may be substituting rice, maybe milk he may be consuming in place of rice and reducing the demand for rice, or he may be buying meat or chicken or any other product as his income is increasing. Rice and then quantity demanded of rice is going on declining. He may be substituting other high valued products in place of rice. That may be the reason, like milk, fruits, then vegetables, and then meat, chicken, and all these items. So when income increases, then quantity demanded falls. Such goods are termed as inferior goods. But generally for many goods, as income increases, quantity demanded increases. Such goods are called normal goods. But generally in the economy, what happens if we see, for example, this is applicable even for the country as a whole. For the country as a whole, Maruti 800 cars, some 30 years back we used to see so many Maruti 800 cars on the road. Because that time our per capita income was very, very low. But as our per capita income in countries, India's income has been increasing, then Maruti 800 cars, if you see on the streets, on the roads, we hardly find any Maruti 800 cars. It became an inferior good. Then people are able to buy other high value cars. That's why the demand for Maruti 800 has gone down. So this is about, Maruti 800 which was normal. So what is the inference here? A commodity maybe is at a certain level, maybe normal, but the same commodity becomes inferior after certain income levels. So same Maruti 800 was used to be normal some 30 or 20 years back, but it became inferior in the present context. For example, another example is typewriting machines. Typewriting machines 30 years back, many people used to have so many jobs on typewriting jobs, and typewriting institutes were there, and then many people used to go for training and write the exams lower and then upper typing exams. But if you see now, because of the computers, emergence of computers and no typewriting machines, you can see now typewriting machine became obsolete and they became inferior, and we don't see any typewriting machines. But at that time, 30 years back, 25 years back, 30 typewriting machines were prevailing, and it was a normal good at that time. So at individual level or the economy level, some goods are normal and some goods are inferior. As income increases, demand for the commodity increases, then they are normal goods. As income increases, demand for the commodity falls, such goods are inferior goods. In my next class, I will be discussing about cross demand relationship. As the price of related goods increases, what will happen to the demand for this good? This we will study in my next video.